Hello and welcome to episode 149 of the Mouses Makes Knitting podcast. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse, and this is the third attempt at this. The first time I got my own name wrong. The second time I got a tickle in my throat and had a coughing fit. So we're hoping third time is going to be lucky. I have a lot to show you today, so get comfortable. You might even want to do this in 2 sittings. I'm going to try not to go over the hour because it just gives me trouble with saving videos and stuff. Right, admin stuff first. The winners of the Christmas in July Mal have both got in touch with me. So thank you, ladies. Congratulations once again. The Breezeway and the Yarn Show make-alongs carry on until the end of this month. So the 31st of August, and I will draw for prizes on the first episode in September. I think it might be the 4th. Yes, I think it must be the 4th. So, not that that's really very relevant at the moment, as it is only, well, as you're seeing this, the 14th of August. But you have 2 weeks left to get your entries in. Okay, many things to show you. And I'm actually wondering where to start. I think I'm going to start with these. They're inside out, I've just realised. I'm poorly prepared once again. Why break the habit of a lifetime? Oh, and I can't reach a hanger from where I'm sitting. Okay, this rocket tee you have seen before. You've seen it before quite a few times actually, but not looking like this. I'm going to put a picture in here of what you've seen it as previously. I knit this, I'm trying to figure out where will be the best. There, I think in 2021, and entirely my own fault. It was only the second thing I'd ever knit in hand-dyed yarn. The first thing had been a 3-colour fade, so I didn't need to do anything special with that. Then I bought a skein of yarn from this dyer who isn't actually dyeing anymore, and loved it so much I asked could she dye me up 2 more to make a tee, which she did. Well, I knew that I should have helical knit it, but I didn't. I know far better than that now, but back then I didn't. So the original skein, which ended up being the top one, looked slightly different to the other 2. That's what happens with hand-dyed yarn, which is why you helical knit it. But I didn't bother. I thought I'll be all right. So I knit the first skein and then I knit the other 2. Well, the other 2 obviously weren't exactly the same, and you could see a difference. I don't know if you noticed in the photograph, because I can't get it to stay there very long. There was a very obvious kind of pooling, swirly thing going on across my tummy, which is the bit I'd rather not draw attention to, if I'm honest. And then I wore it and I washed it a lot, and the second 2 skeins, the speckles, splotches, whatever, were fading at a faster rate than the first skein. So it was starting to look not so good. And I decided I would overdye it. And I've been thinking about this for weeks, if not months. But I couldn't decide what colour I was going to overdye it. Well, in the end I settled for this colour. And as you can see, it's dyed up fairly well. You can, of course, still see the original speckles stroke splotches, and you can probably tell there's more of them up here there's less in this middle section, and then that bottom section, they'd almost completely faded to the background colour. But now that it's over dyed, I don't think that looks so obvious. It's dyed fairly evenly. There are a couple of places. Oh, it's not really coming up in the camera. There's a place here. Now I've got to find it again. There. Oh yeah, you can just about see it there. Where there just must have been a little concentrated pocket of dye. But overall, I'm very, very pleased with the colour that it's come out. It's going to get loads more wear now because it's colour that I love and it's colour that suits me. Whereas the previous colour, although I loved it in the skein, it was a little bit close to my skin tone, I think. And I'm not a pastels girl, as I'm sure you've noticed. So it got worn a lot, but as an in-the-house sweater, which wasn't very fair to it. So I think this is going to get much more wear now. So that's kind of a finished object, but not a freshly knitted one. As I say, I think that was 2021. However, where am I going to put stuff? Let me put that there. I have so much stuff to show you. There's loads. This is also inside out. Pretend not to notice while I turn it the right way out. I've finished my Twilight Skies Gradient Set Rocket Tee. Are you ready? Ta-da! Oh, it's folded over at the bottom there. Here it is. I love it. I love it so much. I should be wearing it today, but I don't want to wear it until the Southern Wool Show. I'm saving it to wear at the Southern Wool Show, which pretty much guarantees that it will be 1,000,000 degrees and far too hot to wear wool. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But yeah, this is, as was the last thing I showed you, the Rocket Tee by Tanis Laverley, and it is rock it, not rocket. Two separate words. I have adapted this one, I was going to say slightly, I've adapted this one quite a lot. This one is knit as per the pattern. There are eyelets on the raglan increases, eyelets down the sides. I was going to say the side seams, there's no seams, it's knit all in one. And it's finished with I-cords. That's all according to the pattern. This one, and I'm not sure how many I've done in between that one and this one. That wasn't the very first one. The very first one was a disaster and I had 22 inches of positive ease and that got pulled down. I am going to reknit that because I loved the colour I was doing it in. I think that was the second one. Anyway, I don't know how many there've been in between. But this latest one, I have substituted left and right leaning increases for the raglans. I finished it with ribbing. This yellow around the neck wasn't from the set. It was some scrap that I had left over, I think, from my smorgasbord shawl that just happened to be the right colour. And I had already found that before I started this because I was going to wind some off to make sure that it was bound off in the correct colour. The sleeves I did as I went, again to keep them in the correct colour. I have gone back and redone them in, or reknitted them in a smaller gauge needle because I'd done them in the same gauge as the rest of the tee and they were just very flippy up. Then I have put in some A-line shaping. see if I can get that. I don't know if you can see the curve there. Just to give me a slightly more flattering fit. And then finally, it's hemmed again in rib and in some yarn that I dyed up to go with the purples at the end of the mini set. This dark purple, that is the last one of the mini set. So it starts with these yellows, and I've just worked my way through and then added that on at the bottom to give me a bit of extra length. After I blocked it, I think I might not have needed as much extra length as I've put in, but never mind, it is done now. So, should you be looking for me at the Southern Wool Show, I should be pretty easy to find. Do you not think? Subtlety is not my middle name, apparently. So, those are my finished objects. I have another finished object to show you, but it's not mine again. Dave has made me a new bag. This is the prototype. I bought some leather when we went out, oh gosh, February or March, we went out to a leather supplier's, and I bought some specially for him to make things for me. And before he used that, he has made me this bag. I told him I just wanted something plain, so it's just a bucket bag that closes with poppers and has a wrist strap that's detachable. But he's used such soft leather that you can actually fold it down. If anything, I think it may be a little too soft, which is a shame because the leather I've bought is also very soft. Anyway, Dave asked me to show you this. These will not be going into the shop, but if anybody would like one custom made, if you email me, I will put you in touch with Dave, and then the pair of you can sort out what you want, etc. So yeah, it's got like a rounded off rectangle bottom, and it's quite a good size. I think you get quite a lot in there. I'll let you know, because no doubt I will be filling it with something in the not very distant future. Okay, those are all the finished things that I have to show you. Now, oh, kick the bin. Luckily not the bucket, just the bin. Now, I have finished a thing. I'm going to do some more Mandy maths. Tanya, put your coffee down. I had my little cast on frenzy, and that took me to 41 whips. My neighbours are having an argument, I'm sorry. But I finished the rocket tee, which took me back to 40. But I wanted to do a thing, which I have done. So I have declared my Breezeway. Don't yell at me. I know there's a mail going on. I've declared my Breezeway to be frogged, because I'm not going to carry on with it. I've pulled it down 2 or 3 times. I'm just going to knit another rocket tee out of that yarn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But they fit me nicely, and I pretty much know the pattern off by heart by now, so why not? But that then took me down to 39 whips, which I needed to do because got something else on. Can you guess what it is? Does it look at all familiar? Might do. Yes, it's another rocket tee. I should just change the name of this podcast to the Rocket Tee Podcast, shouldn't I? So this is another one. I literally finished that one, sewed in all the ends, cast on this one, because I want this also for the Southern Wool Show, which means I have less than a month. I've managed, I think it was Thursday I cast it on, today's Tuesday, I've managed to get it so that I have joined in the round. I think it's achievable, but I must concentrate. I have just under a month to get it finished, and I can do that. I know I can do that. However, I'd like to get it finished in a fortnight so that I can cast something else on. The yarn I'm using for this, we're just going to move swiftly on from that, okay? The yarn I'm using for this, I bought at the Sodbury Yarn Over. It's from Yarn Mixology, and it's called, aptly enough, Temptation. And as you can see, turn it a little bit, it's purples and blacks, and I think the very last colour is a purple. Might be 2 shades of purple, or it might be purple and navy. I bought this, and with the idea of making a tea, most people I think seem to make shawls with them. Well, I've kind of decided I don't need any more shawls for the time being. I thought I'd picked up, they come in 2 lengths, these sort of gradient bobbles they're called. I thought I'd picked up a 1200 metre, and I hadn't. I'd picked up a 1000 metre. So I have also got, I think it's a 500 metre bobble in just this last colour that the lady, Catherine I think her name is, specifically made up for me in case I need the extra length. So I don't have to worry about that. I can just knit, 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 knit. And what I think I'm going to do is, I'm not going to mess about with this one. I'm just going to use that last colour for the bind off, whether I choose to do rib again or whether I put on an I-cord. I might put on an I-cord, as I've just cast one off and ribbed it. So that means that I currently have, it's either 2 or 3 rocket tees on the needles at the same time. Might only be 2. I'm trying to think. I know I've got an orange and white one. And this one, I feel like there's another one. I feel like there's a third, but I can't remember. Not that it matters. I told my friends on Zoom the other day that I've decided rocket tees are like the ravens in the Tower of London. There must always be at least one, or the country will fall. Okay. Now, should we talk about the things that I was supposed to be knitting this week? First of which is crochet. Just to be difficult. I need the pattern out of this bag that I've buried under rocket tees. Hang on. Okay. This week I was going to work on my cast-ons from my cast-on frenzy, and I was going to pick one a day and work on it. And I have done that. But I have also worked on a rocket tee, either the one that I was finishing or the new one. This is a crochet pattern. It's a Serdar jewel spun pattern, and it's design number 10727, and it's called the Moon and Stars cardigan. It's constructed quite simply. I'm still on the back. I have not done as much of this as I expected to, and I think I worked out I've got 16 rows to finish the back. I've got this much. I didn't think to put a progress marker in, which was foolish. Let me do it like this to be easier. I may have been here, but I think I might have been a bit lower than that, because I do remember moving those. So I can't tell you how much I've done on this week. It's twice this width, by the way. But yeah, the end of the back is in sight. Let's put it that way. The yarn that I'm using is Serdar Jewel Spun, which is unusual for me to use the actual yarn from the pattern. And this colourway is Evening Jade. Just get it back out again. Why did I put it away? Yes, this is Evening Jade, so it's got greens and purples, and in actual fact there's quite a nice blue on this side. Lovely. I love pretty much all the Serdar Jewel Spun colours. I love all the colours, you know I do, so I don't even know why I'm bothering to tell you that. It's not news to anybody. Okay, what's next? Some things I've got some reasonable progress on. Others I feel like I haven't done much at all. That one, I feel like I haven't done much at all, but I didn't put progress keeper in, so I don't know. This is a summer sorbet tee, and I'm knitting this in another gradient set. I have to be careful how I lift this out, otherwise they'll be bouncing all over the room. Boop. These are what's left of the set. I'm on to my second colour. My original plan had been to put a grey, don't do that, you're going to throw it on the floor, to put a grey between the colours, but I changed my mind. I'm going to use the grey as the ribbings to finish it off. I'm not sure that I am entirely happy with that decision either. I might end up dyeing up a skein to go with it, because the grey isn't going to appear anywhere else in it, and I feel like it might look a bit odd. So, just in case there hasn't been enough bright stuff already, here's some more. Now, it doesn't look, that's the progress marker, it doesn't look like I've done very much, but I did complete all the short rows. So I've done a lot more than it looks. And as I say, I'm on to the second colour. My original plan had been to knit so many rows of each colour and then put 2 rows of the grey in between. But then I was looking at it as I was coming to that point on the first colour and thinking, it's such a nice fade. It fades so nicely each time. That seemed like a bit of a shame. So I have just just joined on the next colour. I knit the first until it ran out, and I've joined on the second. Not very many rows ago. There. So you can see where that's the second colour. The more I think about it, the more I think I'm not going to use the grey with this. I feel like the grey would spoil it. So I might end up dyeing another mini in the red for the neck and the sleeves. Although this pattern you can leave with just a rolled edge. I don't think I want to do that. Yeah, so I might dye up another red for the neck and the sleeves, and then a yellow for the hem. We'll see. You know, I'm very good at changing my mind. And anyway, all these projects are going to go into the rotation now, so who knows when I might get this finished. I might change my mind entirely about it by then. But yeah, That's it, sort of side on. That's the Summer Sorbet Tea, and I'm trying to think who it's by. All the patterns are linked below, and that reminds me, not last week but the week before, I said all the patterns are linked below. They always are, apart from on that occasion when I recorded and edited the podcast and uploaded it, and then was so excited by the fact that I was preparing my cast-ons for my cast-on frenzy on the 1st of August that I completely forgot I even had a podcast and didn't put anything in the description box. And it stayed like that until somebody commented, and I do try and keep on top of the comments as they come in. Somebody commented and said, I can't see the description box. And I thought, nobody can see the description box because it's not there. So I very quickly came and did the bit of editing that I should have done and put it on. So if ever you go to look in the description box and it's not there, please do not hesitate to comment or message me and say, Mandy, you've done it again. Or to be more precise, you haven't done it again. I'm so easily distracted. You might have noticed this while I'm podcasting. Something will happen out there. I'll see something out the corner of my eye. One day, I can't remember, it was years ago. It was a peg on my neighbour's washing line that was catching the sun, and it just kept drawing me like a sailor to a siren. I couldn't leave this damn peg alone. I don't think I have ADHD. I'm fairly certain I don't. I'm just very easily distracted. Right. This is very heavy. I'm not telling you about the project bags at the moment because you saw them all last week, so there's no point. This is the other rocket tea. I knew there was another one. Right, so there are in fact 3 on my needles, all at the same time. This one is a rainbow one. And if you are of a certain age and British, you're probably going, no, I'm not going to sing it because then I'll get like copyright infringement or something. That's where I was last week. I've put in 2 colours and 3 black stripes, and then I paused. I will be quite sad to put this into the rotation. I have started though. You can see there are going to be so many ends. I've started carrying the black up the edge because you won't see it once the binding of whatever description, whether it's no, that's I-cord, whether it's an I-cord or a ribbing. Sorry, my friends and I are developing our own language. We spend way too much time together. Yeah, I'm going to be sad to put this away because I haven't got all the colours in it yet. Maybe I'll cheat and keep it out just to get the other 2 colours in and then put it away. I could do that, couldn't I? They're my rules, so I can break them. Yes, so this is yet another rocket tee that I'm knitting in all my own hand dyed, apart from the black, which is Yarn Smith's Merino sock. I wanted to say Cascade Heritage, but I knew that was wrong. It's Yarn Smith's Merino sock. I'm doing the same thing. I have ditched the eyelets for a make one left and make one right increase on the raglans. The eyelets are where I make mistakes, and they're pretty enough. I don't put them down the side anymore because that just, it's a tiny hole. Well, it's 2 tiny holes. But, you know, you get aware of the fact that people can see your bra if you haven't got anything on underneath it other than a bra. And I just prefer not to put them down the side because, as well, there's less potential for getting in a mess. So I much prefer just, I mean, technically you could say it's not a rocket tee anymore because I've taken out most of the features. It's just a V-neck tee. But, what's the word I'm looking for? Credit. Credit must go to Tanis Laverley because it is her pattern that I'm messing about with. So, I won't show you all the colours again. You've seen them 2 weeks running. You don't need to see them for a third. I've just got the green and the blue to put in. I might do that today. That would be all right, wouldn't it? Yes. Shall we move to my other side now? In this bag is the Traveller Shell by Andrea Mowry that I was beginning to despair that I would ever even finish the ribbing on. I finished it. I've moved up to the needle size required for the body and I've done a few rows of that. And I swear to you that these rows are going so much more quickly than the ribbing did. I think I've got about 6 rows. Not many. There's not really much to look at. But I did have... I didn't put a progress keeper in this one either. I am rubbish. I'm the most rubbish podcaster there ever was. Nothing. But I know I still had a fair distance to go on the ribbing. I'm going to put one in today. I know I had a fair distance to go and it took a very long time, and I feel like I need a medal or a gold star or some kind of like honour for slogging my way through 2 inches of 1x1 ribbing on a 2.75mm needle. So I'm afraid this is a little bit of an anticlimax really, having a look at this, except that you can see that I've finished the ribbing. Right, which is the right side? This is the right side. Let me find, here we go. I'm going to try not to rattle this too much. I'm still using it, Nikki. Let me find a little stitch marker, progress keeper. What shall we have? I need a light one really. Let's have that one. I need something fairly delicate because it's quite delicate yarn. Oh, I didn't tell you what it was. It's the James Sbet yarn in the grey. It's just plain grey. I can't remember what the colour is. Do they have colourway names? I'm not sure they do. I think they might just be numbers. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm going to put this little stitch marker on, progress keeper. I bought this at the Southern Wool show. No, I didn't. I bought it at the Sodbury Yarn Over. I think it was by Otter and Papoose. I bought some of her yarn as well. She's from Bristol. Ow! I trapped my finger in it. And the yarn was very pretty, and I bought some earrings as well that I wore the other week on the podcast. But mainly I bought stuff because the name Otter and Papoose, I just loved it. I wish it was mine. The yarn is very pretty and it's on my list of things to cast on next year with some yarn from Amanda of Little Lycac. I'm already compiling a list of things that I'm going to cast on next year. I'll give you fair warning. I toyed for a few days with next year was just going to be the year that I finish everything, which, if you remember, was that what this year was supposed to be, and that has not worked out very well at all. Not even a little bit. So I'm not even going to pretend to myself. I'm going to make a list of things that I want to cast on. There's a what's it called? A Trinigan, an Andrea Mowry Trinigan. I can't remember who it's by, but it's called the Silka Tea. Oh, there's a few things already. I think there's about 5 things already on the list. But I'm going to try really hard. I know you're all rolling your eyes and laughing. I'm going to try to finish stuff before I cast stuff on next year. Notice I qualified that by saying next year, because I've already got other stuff I want to cast on this month. And then there'll be Advent, and then in November, oh God, hang on, I'm sorry about this, but I've trapped this under my laptop. In November, I was going to knit a Christmas shawl like I did last year. And because I've decided, my hip's locked now. Oh, did you hear that? Because I've decided that I don't really need any more shawls at the moment, I thought I'm going to do a Christmas top, Christmas tee, rather than a shawl. So if I can get this rocket tee knit in 4 weeks, a month, then I know that I can do that during November with a Christmas tee and still be knitting on other things as well. It's kind of a dry run. Am I convincing anybody? Tanya, are you enjoying my rationalisations? I hope so. Right. This is another Serdar Jewel Spun pattern. The Serdar Jewel Spun yarns are both having like another go at life. The one I showed you before was a poncho that I pulled down and I'm now crocheting a cardigan. This started off as a blanket and then it was a sweater and now it's going to be a cardigan. This design is 10720 and it's called, and I must get this right because I keep getting it wrong, Evergreen, I think it's the Evergreen cardigan. Or it might be the Eventide, but now I can't remember which is the wrong name for it. I'm very sorry. I don't even know if you could see that. And this one, oh, I did put a progress marker in. This one is, this colourway is Sunstone Amber. And I was all the way down there. Can you see it down there? This again is made in pieces and this is the back, and I have a very long way to go yet. But it's on largish needles, it's on 5mm needles. It's Aran weight, but it's a light Aran weight. But it knits up quite quickly. This is not a hardship to knit at all. I don't know if you can see the colours a bit better like that. So, yeah, another one that I'm going to be a bit sad to put into the rotation. But the thing is, with putting stuff in and working on it when it comes out of the little pot, whenever I pull something out, it's like I'm rediscovering it. So that's the benefit of it, I suppose. I don't get a chance to get bored with something because I knit on it for a week and then I have something new, and then a week later I have something new again. So that's that one. I'm getting quite quite a mass around me. I must keep an eye on the time. Finally, of my cast-ons, there is the Granny Go Round tee that I'm knitting in 7 different yarns, I think. Oh, it's floofy. It feels very heavy. It's fingering weight and I'm holding it double. Oh, and would you look, I actually managed to put, I must have done more than that, surely. Surely I didn't just do 2 rows. It looks like I did. I only did 2 rows. That's disappointing. I had hoped, when I started this, I had hoped to have it finished also for the Southern Wool show, but even if I do have it finished, which is highly, highly unlikely, it would be too warm. It's quite thick because it's fingering weight held double, and I noticed when I pulled it out of the bag that it feels heavy already. So yeah, probably not, but it'll be nice for a chilly spring. I'll bring it a bit closer so you can get a better idea of the colours. They are mostly my own. There's one in there that is Amanda from Little Lycax, and it's the 3rd colour, which, let me see if I can, that row there. But they all go together so nicely that I don't think you can tell. So apparently I only did 2 rows on that. I'm very disappointed with myself. I thought I'd done loads. Never mind. Away to the shelf it must go. Okay. In a minute I'm going to pull a project out of the jar. I have been doing 2, but I'm only going to get 1 because I must work on that rocket tee, and I've also taken something else out of the pile, the mountain of projects that I want to get finished. Just checking I'd got the right bag then, because I didn't think to look in it before. This is another bag that I made myself. When I first started making bags, I had like a flurry of ideas and I went nuts for about 3 weeks making myself bags. And then it wore off. Right, these are called the Totally Cabled Mitts. Who are they by? The pattern's only down here, bear with me. I should know. I should know, but I do not. Nope. Rustle, rustle, rustle. And of course it doesn't say on the bit that I can see, or on the title page. How silly is that? Must say somewhere. Oh yes, by Linda Lehrman, and they look like this, but I have not knit them that long. Let me wrestle this back in here. I'm having to be very careful because I've got the charts on the other side. Yes, charts, plural. 3 of them, all at the same time, all with different row counts. These have been on the needles for 2 years. And I finished the first one, and oh, perhaps I did make it longer than I thought. I love it. I love it so, so much. It's very difficult to show you because it twists on my arm. Oh, and then the inside. different. These are all marking different points I've got to do things so that I can see on the second one. So I knit this fairly quickly, but it's a complicated pattern until you get into it. And then once I was into it, I think I spent 2 afternoons and I did loads. Because obviously it's a mitt. There aren't that many stitches. But I've only got this much of the second one, which is not very much. And I feel I need to make a bit more effort with it. The yarn is so beautiful. It's Fibre Sbet's Vivacious 4-ply, and the colourway is Peach Bellini. It's 100% superwash merino, and it's just gorgeous. I don't know, is there enough light? Is the light okay? It's just gorgeous. No good for socks, I don't think, because there's no nylon in there. It's high twist, and they're just so pretty, and they just scream autumn, that I really need to get them finished. And then I was going to use whatever was left, because obviously that's probably not even used as much. Oh, I don't know, with all the cabling, maybe used as much yarn as a sock, so there should be a fair amount left. I thought maybe a colourwork cowl using this and an undyed, so that this for the colourwork really stands out. Yeah, I need to finish this mitt first. So, separate to what I pull out of the pot, I'm going to keep these out and try and get them finished. I'm going to say before October, because that gives me 6 weeks. And really, I just need to carve out a couple of afternoons where I can just sit with a talking book on and just concentrate on what I'm doing. They are not for doing on Zoom. Although they might be once I've got my head around it again, but it's, yeah, it requires some concentration. So this week I'm going to be working on my rocket tee, my yarn mixology rocket tee, possibly those mitts, and something from the jar. I'm going to pull out a piece of yellow. Now, there is a system. Yellow are individual projects. Orange, blankets. Blue are categories. So, for example, all the socks, all the accessories, all the tees, all the cardigans will be together on a blue piece. So what I was doing was pulling out a yellow and a blue, and then getting to choose one of the projects off the blue. But I'm just going to get out a yellow because I've already got 2 things really that I'm going to work on this week. So let's grab one out the middle and see what it is. It's my granny go round a cardigan. What are the odds? Bear with me, I'll fish it out. I'm going to pause you because this could take a while. I've got to clear a path first of all before I start looking for it. Hang on. I'm back. I should have left the camera running because I've got my patterns, or some of my patterns, in this clipboard, and I got the pattern for the mitts out and didn't close it properly, so I closed it and trapped tie from my dress in the clipboard, so I couldn't put it down. I was on Zoom this morning and my friend June said to me, "Are you all organised for today?" And I said, "Yep, I got it all organised." She went, "So there's not going to be any chaos today then?" Oh, June. It's only small chaos, but there has been some chaos. Right. I've written a lot of things on here. This could be quite complicated for me to work out. Let me see if I can find the picture. Though I'm sure you all know what the granny go round cardigan looks like. Nevertheless. Where is it? I should have left you put on pause while I did this. I didn't realise it was going to be this difficult. And the award for World's Most Useless Podcaster goes to... Right, I'm pausing you, hang on. Okay, so apparently, and for no reason that I can tell you, this should have been printed in landscape rather than portrait. But I have painted it in portrait, and so the picture is teeny tiny. That was another anticlimax, wasn't it? This is the Granny Go Round cardigan by Iron Lamb. And I can't remember when I started it. It was a little while ago. I don't have very much. This is even worse than the tea, isn't it? I've got this much. That's keeping nobody warm. That's backwards. This is the back. This yarn is also... Come on, brain. Yarn Smiths. I've been doing this too long now. This is also Yarn Smiths, but this is Create DK in bottle green. And you may remember from when I bought it, it did not smell very nice. It still doesn't smell very nice. It doesn't smell as bad as it did to begin with, but it doesn't smell very nice. So, this is my project for this week, alongside the Yarn Mixology Rocket Tea. I shall have to work out which is the right side and which is the wrong side, because I did not put a marker on it, so I don't know that even. This may take a little bit of concentration. I will find a marker and put it on it. That was good, wasn't it? I will find a marker, a progress keeper, and make sure to attach it to my work before I start this time, so that when I come back to you next week, we can see how many rows I have or have not done. Okay. That, I think, is everything. Sorry, I was just reading something I'd written there, but I'm sure I told you that already. Okay, I'm going to go away now. I said I was going to keep it under the hour, and I've got just over 5 minutes to keep my promise. So, I'm going to go. I'm going to try and find my floor underneath all the bags that I have just like discarded around myself. And I will see you next week, hopefully with lots of progress on 3 things. Who knows? Until then, happy knitting. Bye, guys.